What is it like to be a political science major? How different will the country be when we're old enough to run for president? And am I talking with a future president of the United States? Well, I talk about all that and more on this episode of the Toddcast. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Toddcast. As always, I'm your host, Todd McManus, and today is a very special episode because my guest joining me is someone who I've known a long time. We went to the same high school together. He graduated a year after I did, but we go to the same college now. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Mr. Ethan Estis. Ethan, how are you doing today?
I'm good, Todd. I'm good. Thanks for having me. It's good to see you.
Well, it's true that we've known each other probably most of our lives.
Yeah, absolutely.
We both graduated from Rushfield.
Mm-hmm.
I went there since kindergarten.
Same pre-K, kindergarten.
So it's like, as soon as you get to that age where you know people the grade below you, that's when it was like, because I was trying to remember, I was like, I've known Ethan since like elementary school,
right.
when it was before.
Yep.
And it's like, so we've known each other pretty much, I can honestly say like 16 years maybe.
Yeah.
Just
a long time.
At the same school and then now at the same college, but with all that out of the way, I wanted to go ahead and just ask you this would you rather question to start it all off.
Sure.
So, would you rather give up cake for the rest of this year? No more cake for 2022. Or give up ice cream for the rest of this year?
That's a difficult one. I like both, obviously. Yeah. But out of that, I would probably say I'm going to give up cake.
Okay.
Because I don't eat cake very often unless it's an occasion, right? But ice cream, you can almost get that anywhere. You can go to Eskimos, you can go to Sonic, you can go
That's true.
to McDonald's if the machine's working.
Get some good old Bluebell from like Walmart or something.
Right. So, I mean, I guess it's easier to get ice cream compared to cake. So, yeah. I'd probably give up cake.
There's not much places that really just sell cake. As it is
like
a
bakery, maybe.
Domino's has their like lava cake, but that's about it. Like, unless you go like Cheesecake Factory, but that's cheesecake, right. Not technically cake, right. But I see what you're saying about cake because it's like, unless it's like a graduation party, a birthday party,
right.
Wedding, anniversary, anything like that, where it's like a big occasion. But if you don't go to many birthday parties a year,
no,
besides your own birthday, you know. But then you can just say, hey, I want just get 10 different flavors of tubs of ice cream, like your vanilla, your chocolate, your strawberry, your mint chocolate chip, your cookies and cream, like that. That would be that sounds pretty good. Just an ice cream party
for everybody, right?
That sounds pretty good, but I think I'll be in the same. Oh, do I have to give up cookie cake? Cookie cake's my favorite kind of.
Technically a cookie though. So
true, it's just a big cookie.
It is.
All right, then I can give up cake then. Like normal cake, I can just give up. But yeah, I can't give up ice cream like you said because Sonic, of course, is my place. It's my home, right. So I can't give it up.
Right.
So I'm in the same boat with you with giving up cake for the rest. Well, and we can celebrate the new year with a piece of cake in 2030.
That's right.
So going into a little bit about you, for people who don't know, that you are a political science major here at ULM, at our same college. So when did it start that you wanted to go into the political field and why you majored in this specific subject?
Sure. So I've always known from, I guess, it's in junior high, and this just going to the same high school, everybody kind of called me Gov, right?
Yeah.
That name stuck when Coach Cole, who was the new coach from Sterlington, became our head football coach. In 7th grade, he just decided to name me that, and it just stuck. And I really did not get a clear understanding of what government entailed, being in junior high, right? Most junior high kids.
Oh, if we couldn't vote, we didn't care.
Right. I mean, you just don't really play a big integral part in that.
Yeah.
But really, it started there to where I wanted to kind of chase political aspirations, and it kind of started when our former Congressman Ralph Abraham got into office. He ran in 2014, so that was 8th grade for me.
Yeah.
And then 2015, he was sworn in. So that was, the later part of 8th grade, early 9th grade. And that's when I met him. And he sort of just kind of lit a fire in me of public service and what it means to be part of that. And just sort of gave me the opportunity to work in that field. And I really, really grasped to it.
And then that's when you were like, this is what I want to do. Like,
Absolutely.
you just had that feeling of like, I like it. It makes me happy. I'm trying to help other people as most as I can, and that's when you're like, this is what I want to do.
Right. And that kind of just coincides with my major. So political science, it really dives into the aspects of politics and policy, the boring stuff nobody really likes to talk about. But what I want to do with that really is I do want to become an attorney. And because I think I can take skills that I've acquired here at ULM and even at Riverfield and apply those in a law manner once I get down the road into law school.
Yeah.
All by God's will, of course, but we'll see what happens.
Yeah. And so, like you said a little bit right there, once you graduate, like you said earlier, you're going to graduate next May in 2023, that's right. Once you walk across that stage and the president, Dr. Berry, hands you the diploma and he's like, shakes your hand, congratulations, and then you throw the hat up and it's time to go into the world and be an adult, basically. Get a job, make money, get a home, all that kind of stuff. Start paying insurance, all the good stuff,
Oh, yeah.
What would you say, like, the plan is as of right now? Like you said, go to law school, like what... you don't have to go like full in detail if you don't want to, but like, what do you want to do after you graduate?
Sure. So like you said, May of 23 is my second graduation date as of now, and if classes hold up for undergrad, then we'll be on track to graduate. But I'm also a realist, so it comes down to we can have plans all we want, but if it's not in God's will, it's not in God's will, and so I kind of know that in the back of my head. But remaining headstrong and steadfast on what the objective is. So graduating in May of 23, I do plan to go to law school. I don't know where yet, whether that's going to be in Louisiana, whether that's going to be Texas, Florida, out of state. Then again, Louisiana law is a lot different compared to our neighboring states. We're under the Napoleonic Code. So we're a little bit different in almost every fashion. So law school takes about 3 years after that. I do want to go into the business corporate route, possibly constitutional law. And then after that, we'll likely endeavor into working for a business or working for a firm representing businesses. But if I decide to go the constitutional law, then obviously that would warrant government, right?
Yeah.
Constitutional law is very... imperative to the way that policy and politics is shaped. So I think that hopefully I would do okay in that route too. But we can always set a plan, and I do have a plan placed. Just got to execute the plan in order to get there.
I feel that. And so, like you said, if you go that constitutional law route, is there any way at that point, like if you work up, and of course, many, many years later, of course, is that the route that you would go, and that you could maybe one day end up being like a Supreme Court justice?
Well, constitutional lawyers, there are lots of attorneys out there that do become judges and are able to go up into federal judgeships and Supreme Court justices for the state and attorney general and so on and so forth that have all been around constitutional law. Because they just understand the functioning of government so well, because our judicial system is based off of the law of the land, the Constitution. I've never had any aspirations to become a judge or a Supreme Court justice. I do know I definitely want to practice law. But if my heart's in it at the time and I feel it's the right decision, then maybe that's an avenue I would pursue. That is a very high calling, though, for sure. Yeah. To be a judge in any manner.
Oh yeah.
Because you're deciding cases left and right, deciding the future of whatever's in front of you.
You have the last say of a lot of stuff.
That's a big say too. Yeah. I'm not quite sure if I want to be a part of that or not.
Especially if, like, the Supreme Court justice, because you're just one of the top judges in the entire country.
Right.
So it's like, and then people just know who you are at that point, the whole country. And then if you become, what's it called? The person who's, like, in charge of the justices, like, that's, I could never.
Right. No, that's way down the road for sure.
If it comes to that point, whenever you're up there, because I feel like, because most justices at that point are like in their 50s and 60s anyway. So once you get to another 20, 30 years, you're like, you know what, I'll do it.
That's your retirement, right? You just kind of, it's still a job, but likely after you become a justice or a federal judgeship, you probably won't go into anything else after that. You will hold that position for life unless you resign. And in most cases, you won't.
Yeah. And so, with all of that, I did want to ask you, like you said, you worked and you knew Dr. Abraham when he was a congressman, and you worked with his campaign, didn't you?
Well, I did not work for the campaign on the first congressional run in 2014. I was still sort of young then, so I did not quite understand the entire process. Still don't, to an extent. We're learning every day. Yeah. But I did help with his race for governor in 2019.
I remember that.
I just graduated high school, and his chief of staff at the time, LuLello, had given me a call and had asked if I wanted to be on board. And obviously, optimistic kid out of high school, obviously going to say yes. I was proud for the opportunity, proud to be there. And unfortunately, we were unsuccessful in the bid for governor. But I learned a lot in the race
because you were just up in it.
Right. I learned a lot about what politics was in Louisiana and what it wasn't supposed to be, and what it really was supposed to be about. And we were outgunned, we were outmanned, but we did perform pretty well for our candidate.
I thought you did pretty good. Like, a lot of people around here thought Dr. Abraham was going to win, and then of course he didn't win the first part, which is the primaries, I'm guessing. Right. Which is
well that's yes. The first part we were at 24.8%, I believe, and the second Republican, Eddie Rispone, was at 27%.
Yeah, he was right there.
Right. We were not too far below him. No. And to kind of put that in comparison for you, we only had a budget, or had only spent at this time about $2.2 million. And running a campaign is not cheap, especially for governor. Eddie had spent about $15 million. So, $2.2 million compared to $15 million. We weren't actually that far off in the comparison numbers. It just kind of shows the grassroots and the teams we had on the ground to really engage with voters, really engage with the people. Because, you can pump money into a campaign, and most of the time the candidate with the most money wins. But if you don't have that grassroots support, you're not going to get it.
No. Y'all won financially at that point. Didn't have to spend a whole bunch of money. I remember I watched it on TV once Abraham was out, and it was Eddie Rispone against the current, at the time, running again, and now still the current Governor John Bel Edwards. And when at the president at the time, Donald Trump, came to Monroe, and that was a little huge.
It was.
For the president to be in town.
It was very huge. Before that, we only had two sitting U.S. presidents that ever visited Northeast Louisiana. The first one was in 1902. It was President Teddy Roosevelt.
Oh, yeah.
Came here to kill the bear, actually, in Tensas Parish. And then in 1984, President Ronald Reagan came to Monroe to address the nation after the flood. And both of those were significant instances, but President Trump coming to Monroe, it really ignited Northeast Louisiana. We had people from West Mississippi, South Arkansas, Northeast Louisiana, East Texas that came to Monroe just to see that.
There was a lot of people. Like, I didn't come because I knew we had way too many people. Right. And that's when I was, because me and my dad watched it at home. And it was because it was like, Donald Trump was there, Dr. Abraham, of course, Eddie Rispone. That y'all had the Robertsons get up there.
It's a lot of folks.
Willie and Phil got up there, and I was like, And then had like the 2 senators get up there. Like everybody was just there. That's what I felt like.
All major Republicans were definitely there. All major elected officials were there. It was historical. It was great. That's something that Doc wanted, that Congressman Abraham wanted, because he wanted to stick to the agenda of making sure we get a Republican in the governor's mansion. Even though that Republican wasn't him, it spoke volumes for Dr. Abraham to still help the man that had attacked him for the months leading up to the general. And he's a true character, and I really wish he was still our elected official. Not to discredit the current one in any way. Yeah. But Dr. Abraham was a true character. True character.
He still is.
Yes,
he's my doctor.
That's right, and mine as well.
I see him often. And so after all that happened, you actually worked with LuLello whenever Dr. Abraham was resigning from his term being as a congressman, and he only served 3 terms.
That's right. Because
that's what he believes that there should be probably term limits, and I believe that as well. And he was like, you know what, I'm done. And so LuLello, which is he was his Dr. Abraham's chief of staff, like you just said, he stepped up and was like, I'm going to run. You helped him with that. What was it like helping him going up to that election? Because that happened during COVID. So that was probably a whole thing. So what happened? What was that whole campaign like?
So it was almost a quick turnaround. We ended 2019. Obviously, we weren't successful in our race for governor. Went into 2020, not really knowing what it was going to be like. In late February, early March, we started hearing about coronavirus. Right. Mm-hmm. A lot of us didn't know what it was.
No.
And to this day, we still don't know really a lot about it. Yeah. But we announced probably in late February, Luke and I and a couple family members started talking about, his possible run, because like you said, Dr. Abraham only wanted to be in there for 3 terms. He was a very firm believer that this should not be a career, should not be anything being in there for many, many years. He is a believer in term limits. And so he said when he ran in 2013, 2014 that he was only going to be in there for 3 terms. And he stayed sticking to that promise. We announced our race for Congress for late Congressman-elect LuLello. We announced on the day that Louisiana had its first positive COVID case in New Orleans. Horrible timing.
Yeah.
I think we announced at about 9:30 in the morning on the day of the first COVID case here, and then by noon there was a confirmed case in Louisiana. Obviously, at that time, schools were still open, and about 2 days later, everything shut down. So our campaign just kind of
dropped.
There was no hands-on interaction. There was no events. From that point, March until June, we had no events. There was nowhere we could really go. Everything was virtual, and the campaign world really was turned upside down, because there's no handbook or guide of how to run a campaign in a pandemic, right? Yeah. You just kind of have to figure it out as it goes.
Because it was just social media, and that's really all you had.
It's social media, and that's all we really had. But then again, you could only post so much on social media because you had no events to go to.
Yeah.
So
just don't forget to vote. That's
right. So we kept our head down. We stayed focused on the objective, and we just kind of kept at it at the time.
And so once LuLello did in fact win the seat, as I should say, of being the new congressman, of course, literally like the next few days into the next week, he contracted COVID, and then he tragically passed away. Mm-hmm. And then his wife, Julia LuLello, who actually did work here at ULM, she, like you said earlier, she stepped up literally, like you said, like 3 days, 3 to 4 days after it happened. And you worked with her probably just a little bit, because that was not instant.
Right.
Like, from that point to when she won was very quick.
Right.
So what was it like to have that happen and then have to work right after that happened to go ahead and try to work with Miss LuLello on that?
So, like you said, it was a tragic, horrible event. We won the 5th congressional district, 68% of the vote on December 5th of 2021, and 2020. And it was a spectacular day. I mean, you had back-to-back congressmen, both being from Richland Parish. And Luke he had a passion. He was a true statesman for the district. He was a true statesman for Louisiana. And you don't see very many of those anymore. Yeah. He never did anything for personal gain or personal advancement. He always did things for the betterment of the people, and that speaks volumes. And just after the election night, a couple of days after, obviously he was not feeling too good. But all of our, his family, our staff, all of our immune systems were just kind of compromised because we had been working just diligently so hard. I remember days of pulling 21, 23-hour days, and you just had to do it, right? But, he worked so hard to get there, and unfortunately passed due to COVID-19, horrible way. Dr. LuLello, his wife Julia, she was over the marketing department here at ULM. Yeah. Earlier in the year, she had put her name in the hat for president, to be the next president of ULM. And it's sort of a blessing and a curse at the same time, because I am a believer that everything happens for a reason, right? And she is now a wonderful congresswoman representing the 5th district now. That transition from Luke's passing to her making that decision to run for Congress was a very quick decision that had to be made. Yeah. I know her and her family and her team prayed about it. They talked about it. They really, really dove into saying, is this the right thing we need to do? And she took it. She took the shot of running to replace her husband's seat, and she got it, without any opposition or any type of.
It just felt like she was running by herself almost.
Right, it did, and it was a very quick campaign. They announced January 20th, and I think by March 20th there was a new member of Congress representing this area. I did not help in any official capacity with the campaign. I only helped where I could. But it was just a very quick decision. But I'm certainly glad that she stepped up to the plate. She is a very strong woman. I don't know very many people that can do what she did.
And so it's kind of, don't want to say it's kind of good, but it is kind of good in a way that she didn't get the president of ULM spot. That way she could get this spot,
Right.
Because she, like you said, I do remember her being in the running with Dr. Berry, who didn't, and he did end up winning the presidency here. And then right after that happened, and then she went for the spot of LuLello's seat, that she was going to get it. I knew right then, I was like, well, I'm pretty sure she's going to be elected. And then she did, and I think she's been doing great so far,
Oh, yeah.
in my opinion.
She's been a strong member of Congress. She's on a House Ag Committee, Education Committee. She has been making strides up there in D.C. One of her most recent bill, the Parents' Rights Bill of Rights Act, making strides up there. She is a former educator, and growing up in our farm country here, Louisiana Delta. She understands agriculture to a T, and she understands education to a T. Because that was her passion, was education. That's why she worked here at ULM for many years, and she will continue to do great things.
And so, moving forward in time from that a little bit, going into a little bit more about ULM, you helped basically establish or bring back or bring here the College Republican group to ULM, and you were in fact the president of this group. Why did you help establish? Why did you decide, hey, we need this at ULM? and then you being the president. How did all that happen?
Sure. So college Republicans, it wasn't a big thing here at ULM.
Yeah.
It was a big thing up until about 2015, 2016, sort of disbanded because of leadership roles that were not filled underneath. Seniors graduated and the organization unfortunately collapsed. But a little bit of history about college Republicans. Let's go to college Republicans year of 2001 at Tech. LuLello was the president of college Republicans at Tech during that time. And he had always said during the campaign, you should look at getting it started up at ULM, look at getting it going over at ULM. And I never really gave it any thought. And after he passed, I just kind of felt that I need to do this, that I need to be a college kid for once, and I need to start something politically right that I felt was right, and bring back college Republicans. Now we're up to 70 members on paper, and we have events coming up here left and right, and so I think we're making some strides here. The most important thing we can do is get young people like ourselves in college that may or may not care about government, but help them understand that it is important for us to play a part in government. And this is one of the ways to do it.
Yeah, like as a young person, government's boring.
Right.
And you really don't want to pay attention to it. But when you think about it, it's like all the people that are older, and like whether it be a college government or a state or even all the way to the country government, that there are a bunch of older people there.
Right.
That they're like, what they're doing is going to affect the people who can't even vote, so it's all like leading up to that and trying to get it together. And if anybody out there listening wants to get involved, they can come here to the student center, and you can come over here. Make sure you meet with Ethan Estis here, and he'll let you know all about it.
Right. No, anybody can reach out to me. My email's out there on our Warhawk page. My cell 318-417-3176. Call or text me anytime. I'm most of the time very accessible, so as long as I'm not tied up in something else. But yes, if anybody ever wants to get involved, they can do that.
So I'm going to ask the question that probably a lot of people want me to ask. And you probably already know this question. That, of course, you graduate high school, graduate college, like you said, go into law, all this. Let's say it comes around the time you were 35 years old. Will you, I don't know the actual requirement for that. Has there ever been a consideration or a thought, or maybe one day it happens, of you running for like the governor of Louisiana or some type of political office? Since you are in political science, you say you want to go to the law route. Has you ever been like, you know what, one day I might, like, have you ever considered running for some type of office in that situation?
It's possible. Not right now. I can't really, go up and decide to run for Congress or for Senate. I can actually, however, run for state rep or state senate right now. So there is no age limit on that. It's 18. You can run for that. Obviously, in the next 20 years, I do not plan to run for anything. But public service is something I definitely do want to get into.
Okay.
And I believe that you don't necessarily have to go to federal or to statewide immediately. I do want to start out working directly with people. And I believe our state reps and state senators really know the area a lot more than those that are, in Washington or in Baton Rouge or, that type of thing, because local people know local issues the best.
Yeah.
Right? And if the locals know the issues and are able to help work with those issues and fix those issues, then that's what I want to be a part of.
And, I wanted to tell you this real quick. So, people who listen frequently to me on here know this, but I've been somewhat active over on the TikTok app.
Mm-hmm.
And I've had a running joke with my followers and all the people who comment and like my videos that a lot of them have said that they would vote for me if I ran for president in 2036. That will be 35, of course, is the age requirement for President of the United States. And I will be turning 37 in that 2036 election, which will be the election that both of us will be able to run in,
Right.
At that point, I don't even know what to ask. It's just it's a funny thought of people saying, if you ran for a political office, I'd vote for you. Mm-hmm. You've probably had this happen to you many times throughout many years of your life so far, they're like, you should run for governor, and if you do, I'll vote for you, like that kind of thing.
Right.
I've had people tell me that a lot more recently for some reason. I don't know why.
Good. No, you're very well spoken.
Apparently so.
Very manneristic and charismatic.
So let's put a hypothetical situation out there for you. A what if you will. What if the year 2036 comes around? Now, let's say I run for president. Let's say I win presidency. If you were in the position and I asked, would you be my vice president?
I would. Absolutely.
There we go.
Absolutely.
There we go. McManusEstis 2036.
That's right. Don't forget, folks.
Yeah, you got 14 years to remember this.
Look, 14 years to campaign, am I right?
That's true. Just if I have a strong 14-year-long campaign, and I don't really need the money at that point. Just if I get to the point, I've had the joke before that people have said, if I got millions, if I went viral on TikTok, got 100 million view posts and get millions of followers, there's definitely a chance.
Oh yeah.
Of course, everybody always says that Ronald Reagan was never a politician. He was an actor before he was president. Right. So many people today want different celebrities that might run, So I had to ask you that.
Right. No, you don't have to be a politician to run for president. Yeah. Ronald Reagan was a clear example of that. Donald Trump was a clear example of that. Neither of them were politicians before. So it really just kind of comes down to, what did the people want at the time?
Yeah.
And let's be honest, people don't really like politicians these days.
Not really.
Some people don't like lawyers these days. I'm planning to be both. So,
yeah.
People really aren't going to like me.
You're not going to be in a good position, just from the titles, that is.
Right,
yeah.
Right.
Because once they see that, oh, he's a lawyer, or he's a politician, don't let him steal your money, or he'll lie to you, or something like that. He'll make a promise and not keep it, or something like that. But I had to ask you that because people have asked me before that, would I ever consider it? And I'm like, yeah, if I got the money, especially, that's the only problem, is the money. That once you get 2-3 years out or whatever, so many years before, that you're able to announce that, I'm running for whatever party,
Right.
Or I could run for independent if I wanted to.
And in the age of social media now, like you said, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, Snapchat, all of that are such influential platforms that are now being utilized for advancing individual platforms and, creators and stuff like that. So if you're well known in any capacity, chances are you're going to get coverage for sure. Yeah. So, wouldn't put it past you.
That's what I'm going to do.
Would not put it past you, man.
I've thought about it, but it's I'm 22 years old. Mm-hmm. So it's I gotta I'm about to graduate. I gotta think about working, making money, paying bills, all that kind of stuff. I can't really be thinking about what am I gonna do. What am I gonna say at a conference in 14 years while I'm running for the president of the United States? Would I? I would. I honestly would. If I was able to now, I would.
Awesome.
If the age limit was 20 or 22 or whatever, if it was a lot younger, I definitely would.
Oh, young perspective is awesome.
But I definitely would like to. It was just the thought.
It's great.
of me being up there. So I had to ask you that. So everybody out there listening, mark it down on your calendars. November election day. November 2036 will be the election.
That's right.
That we'll be running. I will be running as president. Ethan, you can be my vice president. Like you said,
winning ticket.
I'm definitely fine with that.
Yes, sir.
So to basically end it off on this episode, is there anything you'd like to say out there to any student, or if somebody's wants to go into the law field like you are, if somebody wants to go into the political field, if somebody's not sure what they want to do, just anything you want to say to end this episode?
Sure. I guess the best thing I can really say right now, just I hear a lot of college students saying it right now, and a lot of freshmen and even seniors, grad students that are not really knowing where they should go or what route they should take, or whether it's the one that's going to impress my parents or it's going to make the most money. And I've even asked myself this: just follow your heart. Right? Follow, find your niche, follow your heart, follow what truly you desire and what you think is the best for you. And don't worry about the other aspects, because at the end of the day, if you don't enjoy it, if you don't enjoy what you're doing, if you're not passionate about what you're doing, you're going to hate it. Yeah. And it's not going to be enjoyable. And nobody wants to go through life at an unenjoyable rate. You know? True.
And well, that's well said. And so with all that being said, I think I'm going to go ahead and end this episode. Thank you for being here, Ethan.
Thank you for having me.
Hopefully you'll have to join me again in 14 years.
That's right. Our first ad.
I know, yeah. When I announce us running for the presidency for the United States of America, hopefully we'll still have a country by then. But you never know. So, but that's 14 years into the future. We'll probably Elon Musk will have us on the moon and Mars by that point.
That's
anyway.
Right. That's right. You know, so, we're taking vacations.
Yeah, Jeff Bezos will have bought the world by that point as well. So, but thank you for being here, and hopefully you'll have to join me again in the future.
Thank you for having me, Todd. I appreciate it.
As always, please rate and subscribe. And if you're listening on YouTube, please like, comment, and subscribe, and click that bell to get notified when new videos are uploaded. And make sure you follow the Toddcast only on Instagram at @_Toddcast_ for all your Toddcast social media needs. Make sure you tell your friends and your family, or anybody really, to give it a listen. And thank all of you for listening to this episode. And if you want to know what's going to happen next week, well, I guess you're just going to have to tune in to find out. Only on the Toddcast.